Peace, boss.
Peace. Scott
What's good, boss,
McKenzie,
man?
the great
Peace.
Scott McKenzie.
Yes, sir. We here.
Yo, this has been long awaited. I'm with the great Scott McKenzie. For those who don't know, I'll give you a brief introduction because we got a lot of crazy things to talk about. So I'm not gonna spend no time sugarcoating. You know, we're gonna get straight into the stuff that we think is important for people to hear about. But the ThinkAMill podcast, man, no bias, just facts, real insight, real information. You know, the stuff that people need, but a lot of people don't want to talk about because unfortunately they got too big of sponsors to tell you the truth. But we independent thinkers, man. So we here with the great Scott.
Yes, sir.
Louis Vuitton, Kanye, the Fugees, Pharrell. Do I even have to keep going? Oh, man,
Jadakiss,
I'll let him tell you himself.
The Locks, Amazon, Dior, Walmart, ice cream, you name it. We've done everything.
Done everything.
Yeah.
So tell me, man, like just a little bit, you know, to start. You know, where you're from, you know, how you got here.
Yeah, so to be light with it, I'm born in Newark, New Jersey, but raised in East Orange, New Jersey. And I also give credit to New York because New York is responsible for a lot of my character because New York is just a place that stands out with everything they do, especially in the 90s. So I credit New York and New Jersey overall. And yeah, man, but British Jamaican. You know, my mother was born in England, raised in Jamaica, and most of my household was Jamaican culture per se, you know. And yeah, but grew up with Haitian people, grew up with a lot of Caribbean people, because back then all the Caribbean people stuck together. And then that's pretty much it. Back in the day, I was born 1985 AC, after crack.
So after crack, so you was a part of that crack era.
Yes, most of my family died of AIDS from sharing needles, and a lot of my family was heroin addicts. And yeah, the culture was different then. It was crazy. A lot of zombies walking the streets and stuff like that. And now we, you know, to some degree we passed it, but, you know, drugs have enhanced themselves through different methods now, the fentanyl, blah, blah, blah. But I grew up around people selling it, people using it. Back then it was really one or the other. Yeah.
You know, because I feel like there's two sides of the coin with the crack era. You got the people who was like, oh man, like you can go outside and make $1,000 a day. I wish I can go back to that. Then you got the people who really suffered. Then you got people like me was like, damn, the crack era put a lot of our people in jail or a lot of people died. What side do you kind of stand on? What you think?
All of it. All of it is correct. It made a lot of people rich. It destroyed a lot of homes overall. And yeah, a lot of like I said, I wasn't the only one. A lot of my friends' families were dying of just AIDS and stuff at the time, just because of the sharing the needle thing. Everybody was doing it back then. But what you see in Paid in Full is real as well. A lot of people getting rich off it, you know. One of my uncles went to jail with $6 million in cash on him, you know, but guns too and stuff like that, you know. But he was like killing cops and doing all types of stuff. It was real ruthless. It's still ruthless now, you know, except everything just on camera. It's ruthless. You know, when I was 12 years old, I was kidnapped in school. So every time when I saw the Paid in Full movie with the young boy and he got his finger cut off and they really killed him in real life.
Sonny?
Yes. I was like, damn, that could have been me, because it was like that at that time. Nobody cared if you was a kid or not. You know, but back in those days too, family would send you on your way to school. They'll put money in your bag, and then you're transporting the money to different trap houses. Now you call them a trap house, whatever. Things like that on the way to school. But that was everybody, you know. It was to the point I didn't know that wasn't life. You know, I used to think everybody lived like that, you know, until like the Fugees got better at life, like wealthier. And then we went to like more better parts of New Jersey. But so I get the kids who can be like, yo, that's all I ever known. I didn't know nothing else, you know.
So you're telling me, well, first, the crazy, your uncle went to jail with $6 million in cash. What happened to all the cash?
I guess they took it, the cops. I was a kid then. But back then, everybody was making a lot of money.
So you think a lot of hip hop was funded through crack money?
Yeah, without a doubt. That to this day, most rappers are funded through drug dealers or scammers. In the beginning, till they get to a label, that's a fact right now. You know, a lot of drug dealers not that I know, because I ain't around him. But look at Jay Prince. Look at Birdman. You know, Birdman. You know, Bird is a slang for coke. So Birdman sold drugs to fund it to everybody. Dr. Dre to it. I mean, not Dr. Suge Knight to a degree. Him being with the Bloods, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and almost in any industry, it's hard to not be involved without the underground, without corruption to that regard. You know, it's impossible.
Cause I got a glimpse of that too. So it's like, yo, cause I see it now, bro. A lot of OGs, they stop doing what they're doing and they just find an artist, throw them in the game, and it seems like that's kind of where they park their money at. So do you think, how do you feel about people knowing that, but they kind of still keep letting it happen, and we see a lot of artists going to jail, but then you got OGs out there like, yo, we got to stop the violence, got to stop this, but y'all putting drug money into these artists and pushing the narrative about the negative, gangster rap music or drill music.
Yeah, and so one thing I learned in life, the people who put up a certain image and they like kind of like are enforcing this image, they be the ones doing the total opposite. So it's like Pablo Escobar, at least the narrative he was trying to put out there was, I do right by the community, I give back to the community. I remember Pablo Escobar ran for president at one point. But I love how Narcos on Netflix, when he had died in season 2, they said they showed what he really did. He blew up planes, he killed kids, he had explosions all over Colombia, He caused tons of violence to people. But they were showing how his mother was like, oh, all the positive he did. So I thought that was such a great edit of like, she's talking all the positive, but they're showing all the negative. And that's mostly everybody. Look at Diddy. He's talking about love, love, love. But deep down, he was very hateful to at least Cassie, I worked for Russell Simmons, not to send shots at him, but when I met him, he was eating fried chicken. But in the public, he's telling people he a vegan. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing yoga. But then women are saying he raped them. You know what I'm saying? So people say these things, but in reality, behind closed doors is something else. So you just learn like, oh, that's just a part of the show.
So what they basically saying about Russell, because Russell Simmons the other day was talking about black people, y'all shouldn't even have nothing to say about me when y'all support Donald Trump.
I worked for Russell Simmons, not to send shots at him, but when I met him, he was eating fried chicken. But in the public, he's telling people he a vegan. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing yoga. But then women are saying he raped them. You know what I'm saying? So people say these things, but in reality, behind closed doors is something else. So you just learn like, oh, that's just a part of the show.
So what they basically saying about Russell, because Russell Simmons the other day was talking about black people, y'all shouldn't even have nothing to say about me when y'all support Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because he feels like, yo, he did. But basically what I took from it was like, you basically saying you did sexual assault stuff, and because he did it, there shouldn't be no bias on you. So basically what he did is basically he confirmed it pretty much. Well,
yeah, because there was another interview where he said he was on drugs a lot, so you don't really remember that time. I forgot where he said that at, but he said that too. And back then, a lot of people were doing coke and stuff, so he probably don't remember. He's an old man. He probably generally don't remember. Like, damn, I guess I did do that. Who knows, But he, Diddy, Russell, and look at Bill Clinton sleeping with Monica Lewinsky. It is common practice for millionaire men to take advantage of their power. I believe everybody do, including women. But everybody gotta put up a front, put on the show, act like this, but deep down, they're really opposite. There's only one man, in my personal opinion, that's ever proven he was somebody that stood tall on the things he believed, and that was Malcolm X. Because that's why he died. Think about it. Not to come at the Nation of Islam, but think about it. If you know the story of Malcolm X, he found out Elijah Muhammad was having sex with young girls.
That's right.
Because Elijah Muhammad's son told him that. Now, most people would say, hey, if I knew a very powerful man could destroy my life tomorrow, because he said it on 60 Minutes, if you could pull up the clip, he said, I was a dead man walking the moment I found that out. They're not going to go tell the public. They'll say that on Instagram and Twitter, but if your life was on the line, you're lying to yourself. And the same thing happened with Tupac. I think he was just in a conflicted situation because the narrative is, the real story is, supposedly Haitian Jack raped that girl. But Pac was in the room, but he walked out of the room. And he said that himself. But if you're talking to a murderer, it's easy for you to say, oh man, I would tell that murderer, you can't rape that woman. You're lying. You would find a way to say, let me get out of here. Like, not that I agree with it. I'm saying like, Just like Cameron said on 60 Minutes, if I knew a serial killer was living next to me, I would move. You're not saying, oh, I'm going to confront the serial killer. I'm going to tell the police. Now your life's, at harm. So
there's probably a lot of stuff going on in the industry that people don't really want to talk about.
there's a lot of stuff going on in the world people don't want to talk about. Conflict diamonds, conflict chocolate, conflict cheap clothes. There's no anything that's cheap. It's because people are working for nothing to make it cheap for us. And Vice Media did a whole story on how we as Americans support child pornography.
How's that?
Because we buy cheap clothes. Anything cheap made in Taiwan, Cambodia, all those countries, those mothers have to sell their kids to make a living. Because those Walmart and Kmart are not paying them to. Nobody ever asks, how is this so cheap? How is something from Louis Vuitton so expensive, but then Hanes or Fruit of the Loom can make the same white cotton t-shirt and it's cheaper? Even not Coca-Cola, but the cola beans that they use to make Coca-Cola, all that stuff everything has drama in it. Everything has its issues. And whether you know directly or indirectly, you have supported causes you might think you're against, but indirectly you supported them through like what you buy. If you want to get married, you support blood diamonds. The Africans ain't getting rich off of it. So you think a woman gonna be like, oh man, I want my husband to buy me a plastic ring to show he love me. No, she want a big, nice diamond ring. And she don't care how many kids has to die to get that ring. It is what it is. And if anybody want to challenge me, go to these countries and see for yourself. Go to Africa. Go to Mexico. Not to the beach or whatever. Go to the ghettos. Talk to the people. Because I do. When I travel the world, I want to see the good life, but I also want to see the reality. And then the more you learn, you come back home and you go, damn, man, people are really out of the loop with the things they think represents positivity and all this. It's just, everything's fake.
Somebody may say, well, you say that, but you're wearing chains right now.
Yeah. And my chains are fake, by the way. Yeah, that's a good point. My chains are fake, by the way. They're not real. I would never. First of all, it's stupid. Diamonds are not rare. Anybody that doesn't know the story, the Bear Group runs the diamond trade, and they created this illusion. Great marketing.
We can't skip that. So explain that a little bit.
So the Bear Group got with a guy named Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays in the early 1900s created propaganda. He created the concept of public relations, PR, so to speak. And he came up with two marketing things that helped everything out. Diamonds are a girl's best friend and diamonds are forever. And then he created the theater of like, a woman doesn't know you really love her unless you buy her a diamond ring. He started all that with them. And a lot of companies have worked with him, Betty Crocker, all these big companies. He's the reason we eat eggs and bacon for breakfast. He pioneered that with companies to make people think this should be a social norm. Smoking cigarettes, he put cigarettes in movies, so he would associate it with sex. Back in those days, you always see people smoking cigarettes more after a sex scene. So he was responsible for public relations. And they came up with this narrative. But the point is nowadays, diamonds you can get lab diamonds and they're the same thing. They all sparkle the same way. I'm gonna speak for most black people buying diamonds to shit on a poor black person. It's not like a rich white person give a fuck you got diamonds on. You just want to shit on niggas in your hood.
I heard once that they market more towards black people with these kind of things. Mm-hmm. And that kind of explains why white people don't really care about diamonds. And so being that we flaunt and flex, how many people do you think actually really have diamonds? Like real diamonds versus just labs?
No, a lot of people don't. As Tyrese just came out on the Breakfast Club, Ocho Cinco. I work with a lot of artists. I mean, even 50 Cent, he admitted that G-Unit spinner, he had two. One was fake, one was real. Young Buck got robbed in Chicago for the fake one. And some people, Rick Ross, a lot of them have admitted that because you want decoys in case something do go down and you do get robbed for it, well, they got the decoy. But it proves the point of they're all the same. It's just like water. What's the difference between Fiji and Poland Spring?
The name?
Just the name. What's the difference between a Tiffany diamond and a Jacob the Jeweler diamond?
The name.
You're just paying for the name. The Brandon. And Brandon came from cattle. Meaning like If I had a cow, you had a cow, in order for me to know the cow was mine, I would brand it and put Great Scott's Cow. That's where branding came from. Doing our horses and pigs and chickens like that. That's where it like started, and now it then turned into more stuff. But things evolve.
Well, so what do you think about the fact that Dior, Louis Vuitton, they're marking these prices up at dramatic rates, but people somehow still feel the need to purchase these items? And the artist relation to these type of brands, and it trickles down into the lowest level of blacks, and you got kids that don't have nothing till they ain't ready to rob somebody over a pair of Amiri jeans.
Well, if you ever want to win in life, like controlling the human mind, is you prey on somebody's vanity. So Instagram is good at that. And that's why women are addicted to Instagram, because it's preying on their vanity. They need that validation. We all seek validation. How we go about it is different. A Muslim is seeking it through God, or whatever. Some women are seeking it through OnlyFans. I don't know. For men, to our vanity, a lot of the times stems from showing we have resources in security and stability. For women, for maiden purposes. That's why you wear a watch, or we drive a Ferrari. You don't really see women driving Lambos and Ferraris. A man is, because he wants to show, I have tons of resources, like a peacock. So that's what fashion understands. Human beings are no different from the peacock, and everything that's trendy is based off who's having the most sex, and that's also based on who has the highest social status. So if Kim Kardashian is having sex with the top prominent men, at least through TV or whatever, then women go, I need to start getting a BBL so I could get the top prominent men. It's so like, you don't even realize you're being conditioned to believe that. Same thing with men. Oh, if I wear a chain, I get the hot girl. If I drive the Ferrari, I get the hot girl. And Ferrari and them know that. So the Rolex knows that. You know what I mean? Like,
so basically none of this stuff really matters. It's just the person, it's just the way you perceive it.
As you see I'm just gonna say Jay-Z and Kanye West, that's what, as you see the more money they got, the broker they look. They're not wearing a bunch of chains and jewelry. You can Google it. Kanye look more crazier than ever now. He's walking around barefoot these days, It doesn't matter. It's just like a suit. You get a suit from Men's Warehouse, or you could go get a $10,000 suit from Tom Ford. It's also just to create conversation. So if I drive a Range Rover, I'm trying to show without saying it, I'm up here. I'm higher than you. I'm this, whatever that brand represents. Now, that's why we're so brand hungry. So.
Speaking of brands and fashion and Kanye was, the Louis Vuitton Don,
yes.
But he had such a struggle getting at the table with all these people. There was a conversation with Dr. Umar. He's like, what has hip hop done? He's like, oh, it got us into fashion. I was like, well, even Kanye is still struggling to get in the table at Adidas. What's the problem? And if we spend so much money on fashion, we endorse it, why can't we still get a seat at the table? And you a person who has a fashion background.
Yes.
You come from that kind of industry.
So I've worked with Oscar De La Renta. I'm sorry to cut you off. I worked with Oscar De La Renta, Donna Karan, Billionaires Boys Club, Reebok. I worked with a lot of these brands, Dior, Louis Vuitton. And I make this point to say, it's not a struggle. Just like how, this is my interpretation, like black people feel the way when white rappers want to get into hip hop? Mm-hmm. That's how like Europeans or just people in that regard feel the way when you think you're somebody in fashion because you wear tons of fashion that costs a lot of money. That doesn't mean nothing. If you was to sit down with the executives of Cartier, most rappers or people who wear Dior don't even know the history of it. They just followers, they're sheep because they saw on TV, Christian Dior, Michael Mary, but they couldn't tell you anything about it. And that's a problem because just like hip hop, you want people to not just jump in our culture without respecting the past and what it's done for us. You know what I mean? That's the argument I see with black people, right? Eminem and all these white rappers. But, it's the same thing. That's their culture. You got to respect their culture. Tattoos is not our culture, from my understanding. It's from the Samoans. Weed is from the Indians. That's why I'm Jamaican. In the Caribbean, they call it the West Indies because the Indians were slaves there first. They were smoking weed to get high with the gods. They gave the curry and all that to us. Most black people don't know that. It's not us that created that. But if you talk to somebody, they'll think a Jamaican. Jamaicans are the reason, everybody smokes weed, because it's been so branded within Jamaican culture.
Well, what do you think, what does black culture have that's like theirs?
In America, I think the only thing the black culture has is entertainment. That's why everybody's online or
So
basketball players.
So what's up with all these? I guess I'll say this: the notion is that majority of rappers are rich. Is that true?
No, nobody's really rich at the end of the day. That's why, like, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they don't have the money liquid. They have it in assets. Nobody's really rich. But what is rich? You know, because my grandmother told me being rich is understanding that God gave you everything for free. And you don't need money. Money's a man-made construct. All you need is air, water, nutrition from the earth, food, clothes to keep you warm, and shelter. And she was like, we were slaves and we did it without the education. That's a concept to control your mind. You don't need none of that stuff. The whites, let's say, I'm going to say the whites. I don't mean it like that, but let's just put it like this. The powers that be understand that the real rich and wealth and resources are in our lands. Mexico, Jamaica, Africa, right? But if you from the cold, you don't have no real resources. So you have to sell these people an idea that they need you more than you need them. That's really what it boils down to. And then we buy into this shit. But meanwhile, like I was in Grenada this year, and I'm literally sitting next to a white millionaire and a black Grenadian who don't got 1% of what this man has in life. But he felt confident as a Grenadian man because he don't want what he has because he's like, I got everything here. Remember, these white people are escaping America to come to our paradise, but they trying to convince us to leave our paradises to go to theirs. Think about it. Everybody's dying to go to Paris and London and California. How often do you hear an African American say, I want to go to Africa
Why do you think?
and hang out in Africa?
Because me growing up, I always saw Africa was painted as like dirt roads, and then I started getting older. People started to say, "Yo, look at Lagos and all these beautiful things." And I heard who was it? I want to say Akon. He said, "You know the difference between rappers in Africa and here is they own their shit."
Yeah, and people got mad at him, right? But he's right. I've been to Africa.
What's it looking like out there?
From what I saw, so once again, everything is marketing, right? I got friends from Pakistan. I haven't been to Pakistan, but I got friends from Pakistan. If I was to ask you, yo, you want to go to Pakistan? You want to go on a vacation to Pakistan or Iran or Iraq? You'd be like, on the media, I don't see nothing positive about that place. That's not being a racist or nothing like that. You don't see it. The media has controlled what you think, but sometimes you have to go outside your box and say, let me see for myself. So one of the first times that happened to me was I went to Palestine in 2019. I went to Palestine. I was advised not to go. I came in through Israel. That wasn't even a plan. I just wanted to go to Israel because I have friends that are out there. And I have a lot of Jewish friends. And I said, I want to go to Palestine. And everyone said, don't go. Even when you get to the gate or whatever, they take your passport and everything. And me and my girl was like, yo, I'm going to walk in this shit. I want to see for myself. And the first thing somebody said to me in 2019, Black Lives Matter. That's what somebody yelled.
When you got to Palestine?
Yeah, as soon as I walked through the defense part, that's the first thing somebody yelled at me. The second thing somebody yelled at me was, Tupac loves his mother. Do you love your mother? I said, yeah, I love my mother. Tupac. You screaming Tupac to me. Tupac is like bigger than Jesus. When you travel, you like, damn, Tupac is really big. Anyway, but when I was there, I ate with the people with my hands. I just walked around like all day on foot and I wanted to see for myself. These are the most beautiful, nicest people. But depending on who you're talking to, they're the most evil people. But that's all marketing. And I can't fault that person for thinking that. It's like when Trump said, oh, Mexicans, some are rapists, some are terrorists, and some are very good people. He's not right for saying that. But if somebody who don't know any Mexicans and they only got media to tell them what a Mexican is, the Mexican drug lord El Chapo, and every time they see Mexicans in a negative light, look at Family Guy, look at South Park. You look at most characters that are Mexican, even wrestling one time, I forgot that they used to have 2 wrestlers come down the ring in a lawnmower. 2 Mexican wrestlers. So if you're white and you don't know Mexicans, you're gonna go, yeah, that's what they all are. I don't see nothing else. And I'm telling black people, we gotta be conscious too with how we display what our culture is, because most of the time, like the hoodie. I had a whole argument back in the day with the Trayvon Martin thing, not condoning George Zimmerman. I'm trying to make a point to people to say, when have you ever seen a black man wear a hoodie in a positive setting? You go paid in full, rap videos, DMX, Belly. Most of the time a black man is wearing a hoodie, he's up to something no good. Now that's somewhat the media, but that's also somewhat our fault because we play into these roles. People wearing these ski masks and acting like they wearing it to go save a cat. You know when they wearing a ski mask, they wearing that shit. They about to do something to their op or somebody, and then we don't go. You know what? That's a negative image that we need to all work on. That stop. Like let's stop doing that. But then nobody want to talk to that young person and say, "Yo, perception is powerful. Please pull your pants up." And you know they gonna kill you if you tell them what to do. So it gets scary. But all in all, because I worked in media, I understand the power of media. So I do my best to just help people understand that you're in the matrix. I'm Morpheus trying to help you unplug because you can get caught up in it and think all this shit is real and none of it matters. The only thing that matters is how you're going to leave this earth better than how you found it. Because that's what everybody did in the past before us. For better or for worse, we got cameras now, light. I found my grandfather a couple of years ago, and I asked him, like, he's almost 100. So I'm like, what's the craziest things, you can tell me about what you've seen in life? And he said, I can remember the first time I saw a plane and thought that was the craziest thing. He said, yo, we all were looking like, what? And he said, now to you, it's so normal. But, at one point, that was weird and crazy. So anyway, you just learn, like, unplug from the matrix, man. It's not that deep.
Yeah, because when you said what you were saying about the when they reinforce the narrative of what a black person looks like in a hoodie, right? And I think about, like, people talk about, black entertainment. We do dominate the entertainment industry, but how much positivity is there really? So even when what was I watching? Anyway, but even when I watch, like, the black rom-coms, like a black romance comedy, or whatever the case may be, or like old black films, it just reinforces the stereotype. So we never really had a chance to see black people in a positive light. Whether, even with the hoodie thing or in the music videos is more re-embraced, or the sag in the pants gets re-embraced, and then the ski mask becomes a trend. And then you got Instagram too.
But they always yelling at each other. You got all these Instagram comedians and influencers that are black, and all they can do is every 10 seconds yell at each other.
Reinforce.
Boom. Remember Boom? Boom Gang?
Yeah. He basically tried to change his life.
Which I guess he did, I don't know, but all in all, like, I got friends. I know Daniel Jean, I know Fat Boy. I've met Shiggy before, and all of them. I talk to them. I just say, yo, do your best to be responsible with the images you upholding, because it's not that it's not funny. I guess it's funny, but y'all not understanding that this angry black guy energy is an angry black woman energy is fucking annoying. Like, it's not skits after a certain point. There's a difference when people are laughing with you and laughing at you. Mm-hmm. And I said, y'all kind of be feeding the narrative more and more and more. Like, taking a nigga and throwing him in the streets in New York. And I just seen some crazy skits. That's not a skit, man.
So then I asked you this, because I had a conversation where I was saying, when you see Krishan rocking Blueface, and you don't know who they are, and you're an Asian, you're a white person who's not immersed in black culture, you're just gonna say, man, look at these crazy black people fighting. You're not gonna say, look at Krishan and Blueface. But I said, why is it that we have been embraced? Why are any of the Zeus baddies millionaires for being negligent, fighting each other, domestic violence? And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Simone Biles. There was a narrative going around that it was Krishan Rock and Blueface, and then Simone Biles and her boyfriend that said, the couple y'all love versus the couple y'all hate. Why is it that negativity is so embraced and displayed on the forefront in black culture?
Well, in general, anger activates, sadness deactivates, and positivity is good, but no one is attracted to it, because if everything is all good, then there's nothing to do. So Donald Trump, Floyd Mayweather, 50 Cent, they understand the power of anger. And within our culture, there's many reasons for it, but all in all, I just think, I don't know, it's kind of like the movie Gladiator. Like, are you not entertained? We're just always trying to seek entertainment all the time. Like, when does that stop? Even, not knocking Megan for twerking with Kamala Harris, but all this energy is like, and this is just America. It's like we just have this obsession with celebrity shit. And if we don't see celebrities and fame attached to something, we almost don't view it as real. We won't respect it at all. And my point is, like, why are we respecting the person driving the car versus the person that built the car? And we see that in the culture all the time. Like you respecting the rapper Future, let's say Future and DJ Khaled or something, but Lucy and Grange and Doug Morris and all these white executives own them. So why are we so fascinated with the person in front of the camera? All these basketball players, who owns the Yankees? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know who owns the Lakers. Well, yeah, well, we know because that's more public, Jerry Butler's daughter or whatever. But just in general, who owns Mercedes-Benz? Who owns Rolex? I honestly don't know without Googling it, but that's my point. You know, we only know Jeff Bezos and them because they choose to be famous for their reason within their work, though, not just because.
I would have
Yeah.
I would have never known the owner of Nike until that Air movie came out with Adam
Nah,
Sandler. I wouldn't have known. And
Phil Knight, yeah.
and I think it was it Hope who said, "Oh, well, y'all pay Mike and Mary, does he pay you?" I'm not sure if that was him.
I think it was. Yeah.
But it always makes me interested. But real quick, I'm gonna call out Megan for twerking at that damn rally, and I'm gonna also call out Quavo too, because this is what happens when you do this to black people. When you sit there and tell I have a big problem right now with people forcing other black people what to do. Quavo, you're very influential. Megan, you're very influential. But when it comes to important times like this, the actions you do on that stage is setting what is the word I'm looking for?
Tone?
It's setting the tone for what it looks like overall. So if you go up there and talk about gun violence, but then you drop a music video a month later talking about guns still, it shows, it puts the black community on display as a whole of not to be taken serious. Because it's not just us watching that Kamala Harris rally. These are all the people around the world who are focused on this presidential situation. And I do have problems. Trump brought out some rappers too. It goes hand in hand. But what I must understand about black people, and I'll get back to what you're saying, is that we have to be put ourselves in better display, and we have to come together and say, Quavo, you're not allowed. Megan Thee Stallion, you're not allowed. We need some real intellectuals who've been fighting for certain things for black people for decades on decades on decades. This is how we're gonna get the thing going forward. But back to that. Speaking of ownership, right? You saying they own. You said that they own these people.
Yes.
We've yet to dominate these industries. I saw a study that people get confused with black entertainers, that they get rich. They confuse income growth with wealth. And it's a very big difference.
Yeah.
What have you noticed from your personal experience in the industry, a lot of the gatekeeping and a lot of the because I mean, do you know a lot of black VPs and a lot of black label owners at a high level of the Warners, of the Universals, etc.? Are there really blacks in position at those high levels? Or are they still staying in the rapper bracket?
If there is, then the best example is Cash Money. Ronald Slim and Birdman, Brian Williams. Drake, right? He's black. Drake and not many though, because what they're doing is it's like even away from music. Look at Mona Scott. Mona Scott owns Love and Hip Hop. My fault. She don't own it. But she created the show. But Viacom at the time paid her executive producer credit, all this other stuff, so she can look like the boss. So I started learning that if you know who the boss is, then he's not the boss. Because the real boss is silent and quiet. And Scarface even alluded to that in that, I don't know if you remember that scene, him and Frank were talking. And he said, because he was like, real bosses stay quiet, low, but the ones who want it all, the champagne, they don't last.
That's true.
So I share that to say, Viacom made $13 billion off of Love and Hip Hop since its start. She's probably made no more than 30 million. And that's if.
Wait, did you say 13
I'm talking
billion?
About 13 billion. Yeah, off of commercials and, branding, syndication. So they see the bigger picture. We're all always chasing today's cash, and they're like, it's just like the bank. I'm putting you on a mortgage because I want to be in business with you 40 years from now. So now I got a 40-year client instead of like looking at you like, buy my t-shirt. That's how we be looking at things. But once Kanye evolved, I'm just going to say him, he learned I could sell the minerals that makes the t-shirt. And that's what he was doing in Wyoming when he bought all the land and stuff. He was using the minerals in the ground. And just like Gore-Tex, they all like that. That's like a fabric company. Those fabrics come from somewhere. But we should be thinking more like the farmer, not the hunter. That's one thing my Jewish boss did teach me. Be the farmer, not the hunter. Be Idaho potatoes. He said, let everyone else make potatoes fashionable. French fries, potato chips, mashed potatoes. But you want to be Idaho potatoes. You want to be the apple. And then everybody's coming to you to make apple pie, apple sauce, apple juice, stuff like that.
Because there was a famous quote that said, during the gold rush, the people who really got rich were the ones who sold the shovels.
Yes. When everyone's looking for gold, sell shovels. That's a good quote. That's a real quote.
And I heard you say the music industry is full of people who just don't know any better. Because there's an argument that, well, Lior and all these people are vultures, but it's like, well, it's been 50 years of hip hop. Shouldn't we know better? They can't keep blaming them.
I got this saying now that I've been living by. At what point is the victim accountable? everybody loves to complain about the white man this and the cops that and the government this. But at what point do you say, I got to do something about it? Because, the information is out here now. There's nothing that's a secret no more. Maybe back in our grandparents' days, but today you can literally be rich in less than a year just by being friends with a banker and getting a loan from a bank with good credit. And how do you know what I mean? Like, it's not the same no more. So the Lior Cohens and them, they're not wrong, because it's not like when you do right by people, they do right by you. They take more advantage of you for doing right by them. That's what I've seen and I've experienced, not just in the entertainment industry, just in the world. Like I've seen people give to communities and stuff. It's no different from Nipsey Hussle trying to help the community, and that one bad seed killed him. Malcolm X, Gandhi. Think of all the people that meant well. You don't think most poor people mean well? But who's doing right by them? No, we chasing the BS, the things that feed our ego, that play into our vanity. I watched the weed man get taken better than the grandma with certain rappers. They'll take care of a weed man better than, or a chick they just met over their wife who been with them when they had nothing. And how many times we saw that story in life? The man leaves the woman who was with him from the mud to now get the BBL chick, and
It's a lot of backwards thinking there. There was something I heard.
That's society, by the way.
That's society, because there was something I heard that a dude will get a round of applause for coming home after doing a bid, but he get laughed at for coming home from college. So it's a real contradiction. What do you think is because there's another thing I want to ask you about, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's like, yo, we got to support each other. We got to support black people. They find an artist and give him the worst deal of his life. And I remember you said you were trying to intern at Bad Boy, and now Mason Cameron are doing their thing. And now it's almost like a now I'm on top because of what you did to me back then. And I feel like if we really cared about each other, why are they giving them such bad deals and bad situations instead of giving them the opportunity to own their masters and their publishing? What's happening over there, man?
I think all humans for the most part have a superiority complex, but we're the only ones that do it to each other. We're like, if you want to go by Kanye's narrative, the Jews do it to us. You know what I'm saying? But we're not doing it to them. The Chinese come to our lands and make chicken wings and Chinese stores, but we're not going to China and building a soul food restaurant. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, we keep it all in-house, and everybody else is like, no, just take advantage of them. Remember in the movie The Godfather, in Godfather 1, there was the table with all the mob bosses, and they was talking about selling drugs, and the guy said, I don't want drugs sold to children. I don't want it sold to this. He said, give it to the darkies, the colored. They're animals anyway, so let them lose their souls. It was in the first Godfather. So that quote, I was like, that's very harsh to say, but when you look at how we do each other, gang culture, all this stuff, he's not really wrong. Like I say, because it's not like George Zimmerman's still alive, right? The guy who killed Chris Gardner in Staten Island's still alive. That guy, I don't know that cop name, but all them cops, like, nobody doing nothing to the people that they really need to do something to. And I think we just taught to hate ourselves. And Kanye West said that. They made us hate ourselves and love their wealth. That's why I showed you hollering, where the ball is at? Drug dealer, crack. And the white man get paid off for all of that. So, we could go down that rabbit hole.
That is a deep rabbit hole to go down. And I actually called out some of the gangsters in Florida when Julio, the rapper Julio died. I said, y'all got back on him so fast, but nobody got back on Zimmerman yet.
Right now, I'm basically saying, like, moral superiority. Like, we just got a superiority complex within each other. So it's like you watch the rapper want to go back to the hood. You don't see Haitians doing that. You don't see Africans doing that. I'm going to go back to the ghetto and show them how well I'm doing. Like, no, they go back to their countries and do their best to get back to their families and build as much as they can with the money they made here. Mexicans, whatever. We got, like I said earlier, we got this need to, like, want to shit on each other. Like, why? I don't know. Like, that's what it's, I mean, hip hop is all about that. I have sex with your girl. I took his chain. I killed his op. What? It's hate. It's just all hate. It's black genocide all day. And I mean, cool. Let everybody have their thoughts about it, I mean, because, some people, it do take time for people to wake up. Like, remember, Malcolm X was once Malcolm Little. Maya Angelou was once a prostitute. So some people...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so some people do take time to just wake up from the BS.
You told me Maya Angelou was a prostitute?
She said that.
Speaking of bad experiences, like, what is it like, have you dealt with this personally in the industry where people rather, step on your toes and be disingenuous and not really help you get to where you want to be to kind of keep themselves higher up?
Yeah, many times. The person that snakes you is the person right next to you. But I learned like now that's not necessarily like a black thing as much as it is a human thing because history has proven that. But we're gonna talk about today's time. Let's just speak on today's time. Didn't Mark Zuckerberg snake Eduardo?
Mm-hmm.
He gave him the 19,000 for Facebook. Then played him out of the bigger vision of Facebook. He wound up suing and did get his money more than that. But then you got Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. You could say Jay-Z, Dame Dash, depending on whose side you're on. Cameron, Jim Jones, and NWA, because to some regard you could say Eazy-E was playing them. He's working with the white man to play his 4 boys. So it's a part of the culture for whatever reason. I'm talking about just the culture of life. Like we just have this need to like, once we up, I guess we can't be up if somebody ain't down.
Right.
So we need somebody to wash our feet and take out the garbage and do the mail. And that's just life because women do it with each other. Everybody, we all do. We all want to be the alpha. I think that's just a biological nature within all humans.
Yeah.
But some, I think, once you say, I don't need these things because real wealth is what I can do without, that's when you win. I think that's when you become the Jay-Z level of like, I don't need the watches stuff. That's all theater for the public. But I learned once I got around rich people, they was buying things for theater, not because it was an easy way to lure the prey in. The prey meaning the artist, the prey meaning the basketball player. So I bring him to my nice house. He goes, damn, he's saying, I need something like this one day. And here, kid, sign this contract and I'll get it for you. The whole time I'm playing you, but you got to learn the hard way because I have seen when you give people information, they don't run with it neither. I've seen that 10,000. I mean, think of this. Think of Beanie Siegel and Jay-Z. This is the perfect example of giving and it don't matter. Jay-Z, Dame Dash, gave Beanie Siegel a record label, a clothing line, and a movie deal. Movie company, basically, with state property. And what did he do with it? He's the best example of you can give a man $1 billion. He ain't gonna do nothing with it but go back to the streets.
Is that what happened to Beanie?
Beanie Siegel. He wound up going to jail for 2 different reasons. But after the hype of Rockefeller, remember, he went to jail. Where's he at now with all that he once had? Those are $100 million companies.
So Beanie Siegel was responsible for some $100 million companies.
Yeah, he had. Better yet, Beanie Siegel gave Kanye Yeezus. Kanye said that. Kanye said that. My point is like going into like intellectual property conversation. Beanie Siegel was the first person to call Kanye Yeezy. And Kanye said that. He said, I owe him money. I think he said on Drink Champs. He said, I owe him some money. And he said he was going to give him $50 million. I don't know if he did. But
that's how much Kanye probably has generated off that Yeezy title.
Remember, at the time, he was a billionaire because of the licensing of his name. He's not making the clothes. He's just licensing them out. But Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, they all licensing deals. Marriott, Hilton, Trump Tower, Trump Palace. It's all licensing.
Wait, explain that to me like I'm in 5th grade.
Sorry.
For the people out there who just don't, because my brain is still rattled. How Kanye could how Beanie Siegel could be responsible for Kanye making $50 million. I'm trying to understand this a little bit.
Because because the name. If Kanye's licensing the name to Adidas, Adidas is paying. It's like franchising. If I buy McDonald's, they're charging you $1 million just to use the name. Just to use it, just to say I own a McDonald's franchise, just to say that. Then they're charging you for the building, the napkins, the straws, whatever. So same thing with Yankees. If I'm New Era and I want to license that Yankee logo, I'm giving you permission to use it, to say it. This is a Yankee cap. That's naming rights agreements, licensing, and things like that. Ralph Lauren. So you get paid for your name. You get paid for like basic stuff like that. And Beanie Siegel, who was unaware, gave him the name that was worth, just like Facebook. It was called The Facebook. And then Sean Parker said, no, drop the, call it Facebook. He got $2.6 billion out of that.
Billion?
Yeah, Sean Parker, the same guy who helped create Spotify. I don't know if you know him, but he's in the movie Social Network. Justin Timberlake plays his character.
Okay, that's Sean Parker. Because
Yes.
even in the movie, he was like saying he was responsible for some DSP
Napster.
way back then, Napster.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So he made $2 billion just off the name Facebook alone.
He basically was a consultant in regards to Mark Zuckerberg because of his failure with Napster and said, change the name and then I'm going to walk you in the room to get the money. And that's all he did. That's all he did.
So Beanie Siegel gave Kanye the word Yeezus because he put Yeezy on the shirts, the shoes. That's
down the
relevant for
line,
Beanie.
years down the line.
So he could have he can, but he doesn't have the right to because Beanie Siegel didn't own the name.
But he could have owned it
It's
without
more of a
Kanye.
moral gesture to give him the 50 million.
He was unaware. Oh yeah. Kanye giving him the money is a moral gesture, but Beanie Siegel was unaware of what that was. I'll give you a better example. When I used to intern for G Unit Clothing, Mark Echo bought the IP and fashion to G Unit. Cause you can own a trademark, but there's over 50 categories. So he bought it in fashion, in a clothing line, and he made $400 million off of that. And then 50 Cent had to work with him because 50 wasn't making the clothes. Remember, even with the sneakers, they licensed G Unit to Reebok, and he got 80 million from that just because I'm giving you the rights to use my name. But Mark Echo played a role in that. That's how Mark Echo became a billionaire. Mark Echo created Complex, the Echo brand. He owned Averex at the time, another company called Zoo York. But that's what he was doing. But he wasn't making anything. He just owned the names, and then he's giving it to a licensee, and they make it.
So you're telling me the brand Virgil, Averex. Wait, is that Averex or is that Pyrex?
Actually, no, Pyrex, he got sued for Pyrex. That's why he had to stop using the name. Virgil Abloh got sued because he didn't own the word Pyrex. They own it, and they own it in all categories. So
Mark Echo?
No, my fault. I'm talking about Virgil now. Sorry. Yeah, Virgil, but Virgil owns the word Off-White, but he doesn't own the brand Off-White. I know that sounds confusing.
Whoa.
He just owns the words, and he licensed it to a company called New Guards Group. You can Google this. And New Guards Group, they make the fashion. They're making the stores. They're handling human resources. I just own these two words, and I'm giving you the right to license it because I've built the brand out of it.
Wow. So he's not really making money from the actual sale of the clothing. It's just so he collects money. He collects money from the people distributing the clothes.
He can. So this is the statement. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. That's up to him if he asks for royalties, or we don't know what that deal consisted of. But for the most part, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, all these guys do is trademarks their names, and then they sell it to a licensee and say you can rent it and say you own it and you can use it in this. And you got to own it per category. Calvin Klein is bras, panties, boxers, tops, bottoms, socks. And then you do that in 196 countries. That's how you're building your wealth, like this.
So Averex has made a comeback. Who's making that money right now?
I don't know who owns Averex today. I know it's not Mark Echo, but same thing. He could have sold it to somebody else. Wow. So I don't really care for it because from my understanding, he's out of a lot of things these days. But because he's so complex, he sold it to Verizon. So and the Hearst Corporation, they own it together.
Is this happening a lot in the industry where a lot of these kids could make millions, or even older adults could be making millions and millions of more dollars, but just don't own their stuff properly?
Yes, so that's my gripe today with life. We're very unaware of how intellectual property works, and we as a culture like selfie, throwback Thursdays, like a lot of trends come from Black culture, but we don't know how to own it or even know we can own it. Light example, Diamond Dallas Page sued Jay-Z for this.
Diamond who?
My fault. There's a wrestler from back in the day, a company called WCW named Diamond Dallas Page. And he used to do this. It was called the Diamond Cutter. That's when he would do his finisher in the ring. And Jay-Z, when he did the Dynasty album, on the cover, he's like this. You can YouTube this. You can Google it. Diamond Dallas Page sued Jay-Z and won. Now, I don't know how that financially looks because I don't really get that part of it in the court. But all in all, he said, you took my mannerisms because you can own mannerisms. I learned that through wrestling. Vince McMahon, who created WWF, which is now known as WWE, he makes money not necessarily from the shows of wrestling, but from licensing Stone Cold Steve Austin to video games, then licensing his body because you can own the likeness of somebody, then licensing a Stone Cold Stunner, so that's a mannerism, like the eyebrow, the people's eyebrow, right? The Rock calls it that. He can. So if you do that on TV, he can sue you for that because that's his character rights or whatever. Because you can own a character, but you got to be detailed about it, like Goofy and Mickey Mouse and how they laugh and certain sound effects they use. And he wears two buttons like this, so you can't. You can own prefixes. Facebook, you can't do book face, none of that. You'll get sued for that because they own the prefix. McDonald's, iPhone, iMac. You can own a prefix. It goes so much details, you know. So the more you get into, you go, damn. It's just like Meek Mill said. It's levels to it. You can own a house, but you don't own the land. Even if you own the land, you don't own the minerals. Even if you own the minerals, you don't own the surface rights, the water rights, the air rights. There's levels to owning a house. Most people just own the house itself, but that's why you still pay a mortgage. You still pay taxes because you don't own it in full. But they don't teach us that. You know, I learned it the hard way. But you know, you can own. There's a water bank, man. We can own water banks. I forgot the company's name. I'm gonna send you the video. You might want to clip it in, but Forbes did a whole story on this guy who owns a water bank, and companies like pistachios, the pistachio nut thing, they used a water bank to crop it, or like almonds and stuff. You gotta get that from a water bank. And Nestle, they had a story how Nestle's paying $200 a year for their water bank, and Nestle makes Poland Spring water. Wow. And that's in Michigan. Wow. They pay the state $20 a year for that. So it's things like that. Like, damn, we could own things like a water bank. I never even knew that was a term. So sometimes when you see a big body of water, somebody owns that water. And they're giving it away, or not giving it away. They're selling it to Poland Spring or something like that. Poland Spring water don't come from Maine the way San Pellegrino water don't come from Italy. It's all a lie, just like diamonds, you know.
So this is how a lot of people could boss up.
Very easy. Learn law, man. Laws will change your life, you know.
So is that steak and Rockefeller Dame Dash or something? Is that really worth something?
No, but I did listen to a lawyer on YouTube. I don't remember what YouTube channel it was, and he said how the most somebody's gonna make from that in the next 6 years is, and that's if $3 million. That's if, you know, we don't really know the data. He said, I don't know the data, but if I had to guess, it ain't worth it.
So you think Dame is just selling this to troll Jay-Z? Because last month, I thought he was selling it for $10 million.
So he's being forced to sell it by the court because he got sued by somebody and he don't have no money. And they said, well, what assets do you have? And under his name, because he probably still has money, but what's in his name, because he did that years ago, is that album. So therefore they said, oh, there's an asset you got in your name. You're going to have to sell that to pay this man back because he won the lawsuit. So that's where it stems from. He doesn't want to sell it. They're forcing him to sell it.
So why is Jay-Z so much richer than everybody else and they all came up together?
I don't know. You know, their story is Rockefeller's story is the only story we don't know the other side. We don't know Biggs and Jay's opinion on Dame. They've both never spoken about it. I said he must have done something really crazy that they moved on him like that. Because that makes no sense that they have it out for him like that. But then I think about Dame Dash's resume. I love Dame, and I've worked for Dame. He don't pay people. All that boss stuff he's talking is a lie. He don't pay people. That's one. Two, Currency sued him. Beanie Siegel, Currency the rapper. Sorry, Currency the rapper sued him. You can Google this. Beanie Siegel went to jail because of Dame Dash. Because this is what Beanie Siegel said. It's on Hot 97 years ago. YouTube it. Beanie Siegel said while he was in jail for something else, Dame and Tommy Hilfiger's brother, Andy Hilfiger, were doing something with the taxes on the state property clothing line. And then when he came out of jail, he found out he owed taxes, and the IRS locked him up. So when he got out, he had to go back to jail because whatever Dame did with the finances, and he said he was confused. Like, I don't even know what he did. I just know I went to jail for tax evasion, but I was in jail already. I couldn't pay taxes. Didn't even know this happened. And then think about Cootie and Chike. They own Creative Control. They were responsible for that Kanye West Genius documentary. But Cootie and Chike own Creative Control in Tribeca, New York. DD 172. You can YouTube that as well. That was like 2008, 2009, 2010. What happened to that? That just disappeared. He had a museum called Poppington. What happened to that? That was in the Lower East Side in New York City. He had Dusko Wine. I'm just saying, like, there's just something that doesn't make sense with him, and all these things that he claims he has, but then it comes and goes. Even with the barber. He had a YouTube channel with that barber. Remember? Mm-hmm. He went viral a few times with the barber, and they would talk about business and stuff. And then out of nowhere, he just cut the barber off. I'll send you the videos.
So what type of work were you doing for Dame?
2 times back when he had the dojo, which is DD 172 in Tribeca. I was in there with D and Ricky. There's this group of kids called D and Ricky, and they was in there working. And I used to just be there trying to get in the mix. But he was never paying nobody. But yo, come hang out and be creative here and whatever. Found out he didn't even own that art gallery in Tribeca, which makes sense. That'd be very expensive. Somebody else owned it and they kicked him out because I don't think it was his fault. It's going to sound bad, but he was selling liquor to minors.
Dame Dash.
But it wasn't necessarily he was my fault. He was giving liquor to minors. Young people were coming in there. I was young. We were all coming in there. And people, would drink things that were around. I don't think it wasn't him like, here, kid, have some champagne or whatever. He wasn't doing it. It just stuff was around and everybody drinking and smoking. And then he got in trouble by the state and they took the thing from him, but he never owned it. The real owner had to fight to go, I'm not even there to know what's going on. And then recently, with my man Lays for the Paid in Full 2, I saw on my Instagram, my man Lays made merch for him. He was supposed to pay. He didn't pay for the designs, didn't pay for no prints. My man Lays paid for it. He never got his money back. I shouldn't even say that.
This is recent time?
Yeah. This is this year.
He's still not paying people.
Yeah. Why? No, that's why nobody's next to him. It don't make sense. Even Cam and Mace. Why didn't they buy the Rockefeller thing?
Oh, the steak or the chain?
Well, all of it. Whatever to do to help him if he's broke. Why can't go to Cam and Mace? Why did Jim Jones leave him? Jim Jones said on Rap Radar podcast how he don't mess with Dame Dash. Because supposedly Dame stole money from him through Vampire Life brand or something like that. He said it to Elliott Wilson.
Damn.
I only speak on facts of what other people have said or what's in the public. I'm not making it up. That's what people said. But my experience with him, he don't pay. He has great energy, great message, wrong messenger.
Have you worked with anybody else?
But many people. Yeah, everybody.
Who's everybody?
Well, example, like Jay-Z, I've worked indirectly with him through June Ambrose. I used to work under June Ambrose. That's his stylist since like the beginning. She styled Missy Elliott, More Money, More Problems with Diddy and Mace, all that stuff. So she's a pioneer. And anyway, Jay-Z pays people. He, to me, and I've only worked with him a tippy bit of times, but at least what I've seen, he has the best infrastructure as far as business is concerned, because everybody else is really ghetto with how they handle their business. Most artists are. Most companies are. Like, so you'd be shocked. You could work for like Prada and they won't pay you. Or everybody
Prada is not paying people either?
Well, they're a big company. They probably get tons of invoices, so I'm gonna assume accountant never sees it because it could be so much invoices that it's like I don't know. I'm not in those accounting rooms to know how that works, but I've worked for big companies and you're fighting to get your money. I mean, even like recently I was in LA and the driver, I had a S-Class Benz and he was asking me what I do. And I'm like, I'm in the music business, blah, blah, blah. And he mentioned artists that still haven't paid him. And we talking about a bill of like $200. He said, I have to keep emailing the record label to get the money. And, maybe they miss the emails and stuff. I don't think it's always intentional. Sometimes people do miss things. They probably get tons of those. Because artists do they're doing what they're being told by like their assistant or their manager. So sometimes I think they do think, oh, you got it. I don't know. I'm just getting in this car service. I don't really know they're not calling the accountant like, hey, did you pay this man before I got in here and after I leave? They on to the next show or the next music video or whatever. Only a few got their business on point.
Who do you think is who are those few that that got their business together for real?
50 Cent, for sure.
You worked with 52?
Yes, in different occasions. Like I said, the G-Unit clothing line, that was like 2002, 3, 4. I just was in Shreveport in Louisiana. And I watched everybody get paid by that man.
Wait,
Cash too.
You went to the studio premiere?
My fault, yes.
What was that like?
Shreveport, Louisiana. It was dope. Like, it's very motivational because he is giving back to that town. He's buying that whole town out, but he's not buying it for selfish reasons. He wants he wants to elevate our people. I do think who he is today, he is uplifting our people. There's nobody doing that right now like him. And out of his own pocket, too. Everybody else needs sponsorships or have some higher white company. This all his money. He don't have no help.
So have you seen what Hurricane Chris said?
Yes.
What's your thoughts?
I posted on my Instagram. Hurricane Chris said, one, there was no Louisiana artist. That wasn't true. Fred Joe Bang, he spoke on it. Master P. I heard there was some comedians that were from Louisiana. I don't know who they were because I don't know everybody that's famous that came, but that's a lie. He had a lot of people that were from Louisiana, and he's giving out jobs. I think all that Hurricane Chris guy was focused on was the money to the police. But he literally employed there was every Uber I went in, they said this is the most money they made. And this is just Uber being out there. Because it's a very quiet, small little town. They're like, a lot of them didn't even know who 50 Cent was. At least the older white folks I was talking to that were doing Uber, because there was a lot of old people doing Ubers, my Ubers at least. And they was like, yeah, this guy named 50 Cent, and he got shot 9 times. And they didn't know nothing about him, which was funny to hear. But they was like, yeah, and ding, ding, my thing is going off. They said they've never made this money ever. And that's just Uber, much less the restaurants. I don't know what the hotels made, but all those people came out there and spent on that city. Probably what they made in 4 days, they wasn't making the whole year.
Wow.
That's how I feel, what I saw out there.
What made him choose Louisiana, though?
I don't know. I never spoke to him about it. I think I would assume tax purposes.
Okay.
That's and land, just open land.
So you worked with Pharrell before, right?
Yes. So I worked with Pharrell Williams, aka Skateboard P, Star Trek, and I did marketing. I was the marketing director and wholesale distributor for Billionaires Boys Club and Ice Cream Clothing. And I will say, Pharrell is personally, like as a person, he's a super humble person. First of all, I want to say with all big people, not just famous people, let's say powerful people, they all got 2 sides of them. They got the public ego that they got to project, but then when you get them behind closed doors, you see the human side. And as a human, he's a dope human being. He's great. And actually, to be fair, I think he has his ego in check, considering how big he was and stuff like that, you know.
What is some stuff Pharrell has contributed to the industry? Because I feel Pharrell's the only person I've never heard nothing bad about, but people give him so much respect.
No, Pharrell's he teaches people. He gives people opportunity. He's not a user. I mean, like just like you hear with Birdman or Diddy. You're never gonna hear that Pharrell. He do pay people. He take care of people. He do right by people. Like I say, he's a humble spirit, and there's really no complaints about him.
So he was behind. Go ahead.
No. Well, I want to say he's one of the few celebrities I worked for that his crew has been with him since the mud. Like how LeBron is, Jay-Z is, because most crews get switched up as they start getting bigger, but everybody has a humble spirit for the most part.
So he was behind Billionaires Boys Club?
With Nigo and another partner, a silent partner named Rob Walker, who was his manager.
What happened to Billionaires Boys Club?
So I left in 2010. Yeah, I left in 2010. I left because I just didn't like the leadership. And to be clear, the guy, his name was LV. I'm gonna say LV. He's a good human being. Very good human being. I just think he wasn't the right leader for the company. And as time went on, when I worked there, we was in Bergdorf Goodman, Barney's, all prestigious places. By the time I left, they're in Jimmy Jazz, they're in Dr. J's. I'm watching the news and people are robbing people in Billionaires Boys Club. And when I was there, we used to talk about being like equivalent to Goyard and brands like that. And at the time it was, you know. But now it just turned into something else. But I will say, Nigo and Pharrell pioneered streetwear to where it's at today, because they were the ones selling it for so much money. Not that those prices made any sense as a screen printed t-shirt, but I will say that they started helping us as Black people be perceived as luxury, where that never existed with Call Kana, Fat Farm, Fubu. We was all considered like low tier brands for the urban community. And I will give Pharrell and Nigo credit, like they made it look like Virgil was not at Louis Vuitton without Pharrell playing those C's back then. And Virgil has given him credit for that. Wow. Kanye used to always come to the office and study them. Pastel, his first brand, was with Nigo. And he used to always be at our office talking about his dreams and shit. And everything you see in that Genius documentary with Kanye is real, because he was really like that back then.
So you got to work with him a little bit too.
I got to be around him. I never worked with him, but be around him many times and have talks with him, because he, as much as he is famous, he actually is very down to earth. It's just the emotion you caught him in that day. You know, like Sway caught him in a different energy that day. You ain't got the answer, Sway. But for the most part, he's a humble person and he's willing to help people. And if you talk to him, he listens, you know?
You got any good conversations you remember with Kanye that always just stick out to you?
No, the only thing I can say was when he used to come to the office, well, this one specific time, he just was talking about what he's going to do. And I'm not going to lie, I remember thinking to myself, that just sounds so unrealistic, because he's not Kanye. This is like second album Kanye. But he's not Kanye. So like, how you gonna accomplish all that? But I will say, stick to your guns, because I'm not always right. I don't know. But at the time, I'm like, this nigga sound crazy.
What was he saying?
Everything he became. I'm
Wow.
going to become a billionaire. I'm going to have one of the biggest fashion lines in the world. And how he's going to design this and do this. Everything he said came true. I can't remember word for word, but as life went on, I was like, damn, that there's not one person that can say that when they met Kanye in his early days, that ambition, that hunger, that rise, that he wanted to be great. I will give him that. Like, he talks it loudly. He didn't care who felt what. He felt this in his soul, and you felt it listening to him. Like, but then, at least at the time, like, I don't know if that's gonna work.
So what are you doing now? Who are you working with now?
So right now I do several things. I'm more of a I like to consider myself more of a business manager and a strategy officer, CSO, Chief Strategy Officer, because I help people organize. I give them better infrastructure to their business because they're unaware. And lately I have been becoming more of a consultant unintentionally with a lot of talent. So right now I'm working with the Locks, Jadakiss also when he's solo, doing solo gigs, A Boogie, several. About to start working with LVMH, doing some fashion shows. Well, I also did put fashion shows for a long time. Like I said earlier, Oscar De La Renta, Donna Karan, Marc Jacobs, worked with all these people. And I kind of just do everything. I don't like to put myself in a box because there's almost nothing I don't do. But for the most part, people come to me for resources, especially globally. You might need to contact a celebrity. You might need to hire this person. And I've noticed I've been like that, damn near like a indirect temp agency. But for people who are big in the business, and like if we're working with Kiss and he needs a graphic designer or like somebody to handle pyro and fireworks at a show.
Oh, wow.
You hire us to figure that out for you because they might not know somebody in London or Spain or Miami.
So tell me where the money's going, because a lot of people don't even know how much touring costs, what it costs to put on the show. As you can see now, where's a lot of the money being allocated to with these artists? And are majority of artists who don't really have the greatest contracts banking any money when they're just from streaming, from touring, etc.? Is it really people? Because the notion is, these guys make a lot of money.
So they do and they don't, because as much as they're making, as much as fast as they're spending. If they would not spend so much, but we live in a culture where like we don't respect people if they don't have a Rolls Royce and a Rolex and all those dumb things. So they wind up trying to keep up with the Joneses, and then eventually they go broke. Overall, they are making money. It's once again, that's where I come in, because I'm trying to help you manage your money, manage your life, not even just money, just manage your whole life. So here's how touring works as far as today is concerned. When you get to a certain stage, you get big. Let's say you little Uzi, ASAP, you blowing up. People like Live Nation are gonna call you and say, "Hey, how much to buy you out for like a wholesale price, like 50 shows? How much would you charge for that?" I know you're not Rocky or.
So they want a one-time contract, and it comes with 50 shows in it.
Let's say like a package deal. So when you see all these artists at festivals, that's why they have so much artists, because they're basically buying you out one time. Like, give me a price for 100 shows. You say, all right. Jay-Z got actually $250 million for 15 years. Remember? That was like years ago. So he got $250 million. So that means like food, merch. You're not making money off none of that. We just paid you that all up front, and now we're taking all the back end.
So they're taking money off the merch too.
They take money off everything. That's what they're paying you for. They're just paying you the one-time fee to buy you out, and then you're gonna work for the next 15 years. That's why he was always on tour. Remember, he was on tour with Beyonce, then Justin Timberlake, then whatever. Jay-Z, he's rich then. He don't gotta go on tour, but they go on tour because they obligated to. They have no choice.
So,
but that's how they make money.
Oh, so they'll book you out, and then they can send you all around the world wherever they need you to go, and you have to show up, or else what happens?
Oh, there's penalties, a lot of penalties, lawsuits. Most of the time, a simple penalty is like, let's say I book you for Rolling Loud, you don't show up, whether you got locked up or whatever the case may be, you get charged 4 times your rate. That's the penalty. So if you make $100,000, now you owe us $400,000. There's many penalties, but that's one basic one, because a lot of rappers don't show up. Sometimes they generally get locked up or some random.
So,
like Lil TJ when he got shot.
What happened?
Remember he got shot?
Yeah.
Last year.
In his car.
He was due to be at Rolling Loud in Miami. He couldn't make it.
And you get charged for not showing up.
So that I think there's a term in the contracts. I think it's called force of God. I forgot the damn term. I have it in my notepad. Where like unforeseen circumstances exempt you. Let's say COVID. Like, that's unforeseen. They call it like the eye of God or something like that.
So, because I was curious, right? I saw Joe Budden. I'm talking about, yo, why is Drake touring so much? He's at a stage where he don't need to be touring, but it seems like he's touring all the time. Is he in one of these type of contracts?
Definitely, he has to. He has to be in that, and with Universal, he has to be in some long-term contract because supposedly they gave him over $100 million.
I heard the number 400. Right?
Yeah, I heard the number was 400, and they ain't doing that just because. That means you got to be pumping out work. Pump it out, pump it out. They're not giving you that money for no reason. It's not free, and you got more work to do.
So now I see this notion because you were talking about Spotify earlier. The guy who started Napster helps with Spotify, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Spotify? And I'm gonna ask you this because I see a lot of people like, yo, Spotify is greedy. And I saw another post about, they said people at the bottom who don't register their music correctly, the money gets funneled back up to the top artists. And some artists are negotiating where they get more per stream than other people.
Yes.
Is Spotify's business model wrong? Or once again, when we're gonna start holding them accountable to people who just making the same mistakes?
So there's a movie I would encourage everyone to watch. It's called The Playlist, and it's about Spotify. And it's 6 parts. It's our episode, and I loved it. One part was about law. One part was about the coders. One part was about the technology. One part was, of course, about the artists. One part was about the music executives. And I forgot. Each part, it was so important because it's showing you the world of music today. And it ain't just the artists, yo. There's law. One part was about the law. I said this is one of the most important films about today's economy on music because it breaks it down in its full detail and why all these roles are important. And this is based on a true story on the owner, Daniel Elk, who created Spotify, where he had to go through to get it to those extremes. So my point is this, they're not wrong because the artist is only seeing their part of it and not seeing the whole scope of it. And then per country, what that means, every country is different. Every country don't move the same with publishing and all that other stuff. How it works though is like, let's say you're Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. You're gonna say every month we're gonna allocate $5 million to artists around the world, and every month that's how it's split. So that's why the numbers are never the same. You get 0.000 cent of a cent of a cent, blah blah blah. It's really just based on who gets the most streams. It's gonna make the most money. But out of that 5 million, anything past that 5 million, which we make off subscribers, is all in our pocket. So yes, you can call it greedy, it's how you want to look at it, but that's their ecosystem. Now, I don't know what each streaming services allocates money-wise per month, but they're making you share it with the world. So that's why everybody's checks seem so small.
Wow.
But my point to artists is that you can make your own app and get subscribers to pay you.
I was thinking about that because I see a lot of people going back to vinyl, a lot of people going direct to consumer, selling flash drives again. I made a post one day. I was like, a lot of y'all just need to get a goddamn job anyway, because the majority of people are. I mean, it's hard. Like, what I'm saying, to start something. Do you think it's worth being an artist still?
Yeah, I think so. If you just outthink them.
Outthink like the DSPs and everybody.
Yeah, you could. So people, just like Facebook. Facebook made its own rules with how they get paid. You can make your own rules, but on a simpler level, why not make your own app? If you want to charge people, charge them $1. Right? And let's say most of these rappers have at least 100,000, at least 10,000 people following them. So how can you not get 10,000 of them to pay $1 a month? And then you put Google ads or something within your stuff, like Spotify and them do, because if it's free, they got an ad system. And then there you go. Now you're getting paid 2 ways.
I think the problem is, you could correct me, a lot of kids wanna they don't wanna do the hard work. They wanna just go get a deal. But the problem is, they don't have people like you that they can go find and give them direction. What does that look like? How can they get next to people like you? Because I feel like a lot of these kids, then they don't have money. And then you have certain people. I know a few people, like, what they do is they take the kids, yo, give me $2,500, I'll introduce you to Envy. Give me 5 bands, I'll take you to the radio station.
Yeah, people are charging for that.
They get you to the radio station, you realize you might talk to DJ Will or whatever, and that's it. He might spin your record one time, and then it's like, well, damn, I ain't get 1 million streams off that. So I feel like a lot of people are getting manipulated. But how do they really get in, man? What do these kids need to go from that independent artist to at least get into a situation where it's like,
I'm glad you brought the payment thing because I'm 39 and I didn't find it out till my 30s how much people get paid to connect the dots, and then most of the time go nowhere because I'm not telling you. Oh, I had my man John pay me to get him on your podcast. You were supposed to pay a PR person, right? But so in today's time, everything is based on people getting paid. Nobody's trying to help you if they're not getting no money. That help don't mean it's gonna go anywhere. But and I'm saying something as big as Jay-Z. Out of all the artists signed to Roc Nation, we only know J. Cole.
Damn, that's true.
Nobody care, But I will say, study the players and say who can take me to the levels I want to go to. That's what I did. That's why I got with Pharrell. I interned and stalked Pharrell. No, I stalked him for 8 months before I even got them to notice me. Then I interned for like a good year. Normally, some internships take longer, but I interned for a good year. But I was there every day, you know what I mean? But I knew Pharrell was the future, and that's why I wanted to get next. So I knew he would be good to have on my resume. And then I felt like Russell Simmons would be good to have on my resume. So think of it like that. But you got to say, Lior Cohen, oh, this man is the head of YouTube. I got to figure out a way to get in business with him because he could help me. What data does he have about YouTube that we can all use right now, So just figuring out, it's like basketball. Who can help you get to the promised land? Wise man obtains wise counsel. And there's a reason why corporations have a board of directors. And you got to ask yourself for your personal life, who's my board of directors? Could be my grandma, whoever I go to for guidance, Look at it like that. And then I think people like Russ, I don't know why people aren't following people more. I don't listen to Russ music, but him as a businessman I watch all his interviews, he's speaking nothing but gems. And I don't know why people aren't listening to him more. And he's proven it. What's there to argue about?
You know what's interesting? So I have like a film background. So I would tell artists, yo, bro, why you paying for 3-minute music videos? Nobody's listening to them. Go get you somebody who's going to shoot you 30, 40 clips. Post your songs. But for some reason, kids don't want to do it. They still think that they can shoot a music video, somehow make it go viral when none of the videos are going viral now. I'm like, who are you to deserve? So people rather waste money doing the wrong things, but they don't want to listen because they still think that you got to go get a record deal. You got to do this because they don't believe that they can grow themselves independently.
A lot of people don't believe in themselves. They don't know how to tell you that, but they don't. A lot of people are bottom feeders. That's why I said Kanye and 50 Cent, like meeting them, I met them years ago before they were who they were. They had extreme confidence. But it's not just words. They also are proving it and seeing the results of when they do this decision. Granted, this result, I need to do more of that. Most people, young people today are like not really like even paying attention to what's working and not working for them. If I do 10 videos and none of it's going viral, I need to switch up something. At some point, it's not the audience, it's me. And,
so do you think, because I saw the artist, he had $1 million deal. I forget who his name was, but he turned it down. I forgot who this artist was, but he was going viral for that $1 million deal that he turned out because they wanted to own everything about him. Is it 360? Because I saw you talking about, man, we keep talking about 360 deals.
Yeah.
What do you think about 360 deals? Should a kid just take one to get in the game or not?
So I think it depends. I support it. I didn't support it in the beginning at all. But now that I've been an executive and I've put up money and I watch myself not get none of my money back and that person is making millions of dollars with some other person who had nothing to do with their career, didn't even spend 1 cent because they got the label or something for money. I was like, no, 360 deals is important because it's not fair to people who bust their ass for you and they don't get nothing out of it.
This is the first time I heard it from this perspective.
Yeah.
So let's go a little deeper. Because you're speaking from a person who's put money up.
Yep.
A lot of people are speaking from perspective they're going to have to sign it.
Yeah.
So you as a person, your thoughts is like, well, I wasted a lot of money with artists, and this is the best way I can recoup. I have to put you in this situation.
I'm gonna give him a shout out. This guy named DJ Little Bruh. He's from New Jersey, and I spent 40 grand on him. He came to me and said he wants to be an international DJ. In 1 month, I got him in London and Dubai, and I got him paid, and I didn't take a cut. This is a fact. Came back home. I said, all right, I'm gonna sign a contract because I'm gonna walk you in the door to get a deal. I could have got him $175,000. So that's why I'm spending this money because I know I could have got it back in like less than 6 months. This boy go, yo, I don't want to sign it. I don't feel like I'm ready for that part of it yet.
After you spent 40 bands?
Yes. He spent barely any money. I rented Lamborghinis, Bentleys, everything to make him look like bigger than life. You know what I'm saying? It's all on my Instagram. You know, I'm not making this up. His name is DJ Little Bruh, and yo, that shit crushed me. But I said, I'm mad at myself. I'm stupid. I shouldn't have did this. And that's happened to me more than once. That was just more of a recent thing and the most money I spent recently. But I see that happen all the time. The people who go hard for these artists, they never get the real bread. You know what I mean? It's always somebody else who comes in later, like Birdman and Drake or something. Like, and then he's cashing out. Meanwhile, Jay Prince discovered Drake. But Jay Prince got sue Birdman and gives money.
I've even heard that story about Cardi B. Somebody put their last 5 bands up for Cardi to get on, and then she went up and did a whole different thing with somebody else.
Everybody do that. Nicki Minaj did it with Freddie, Big Fendi. But and Deborah, Waka Flocka's
mom. Yeah,
man. Gucci Man did it to that Deborah. So it happens to the best of us. You know what I'm saying? The people who reap the benefits of these artists are the ones who contributed nothing during the hard times, and they eat the most. So what after a while you get fed up. No, I'm putting you in a contract that's going to help you and help me, because I deserve it. No different from your wife. She get married to you. By the way, she don't even got to be with you shooting in the gym. But if you divorce her, she's taking half that shit. So why shouldn't management and certain other things be the same way?
Now she's shooting in the gym. You sleeping in one.
See? Yeah.
So how many artists are really in 360 deals that we think are probably really owning and bossed
These
up
days, everybody. They're lying to you unless you had to have some decent leverage. Like 21 Savage, from what I was told, and he did. He was just at a certain level. Metro Boomin, he got all those things next to him. So he's able to own his masters and little things like that. But for the most part,
21 Savage owns his masters?
I mean, he said that on Matt Hoffa's podcast. So I'm just saying that to say most artists today are all in 360 deals, like deeply in the 360 deal.
And what is it specifically?
I just make money off everything you do. You get a job at McDonald's, I get a cut of that. Seriously.
Wait.
The labels.
So, at what point in time...
And they don't call it 360 no more.
What do they call it?
I forgot what it's a new lingo they call it, but they don't use the word 360 in a contract no more. It's another lingo. I forgot.
So there's a dude right now who's running around, full chains on.
Yeah.
But every single dollar, that's why you still see dudes getting locked up for flipping 50Ps, because they don't got no bread. They
all in crime, but they have to go back to crime because they get that one check. Then I still Live Nation, you're gonna get one check, and after that you figure it out on your own, and then they wind up blowing it. Because if I give you $250 million, Jay-Z didn't do this, but let's say I gave you $250 million for 15 years, how fast do you think the average young person is gonna go through that?
Wait, they're giving them all that money up front?
Well, Jay-Z, they did that. But for most of these artists, yeah, like if you're Cardi B actually spoke about this. When she first signed her touring contracting deal, she didn't know what to ask for. She was super new. Only Bodak Yellow was out. And I forgot how much shows she did, but let's say 20 shows for $10 million. But that's all in. That's mean like hotels, flights, your staff. But she got $10 million. She says she wound up spending it before all those 20 shows came up. So now she's in the red because she has to still commit to that contract. And she's like, damn, I just bought a house, a car. You ain't using it towards operations.
So now you spent all your budget. Now you're coming out of pocket to obtain the travel budget hotel because you spent all... Damn, so basically you're in the negative. You're not really profiting off this touring.
That's what I'm saying. And artists do that to themselves. That's why you hear Meek Mill or somebody go, the label not paying me. Well, they did. You allocated that money how you allocated it to a chain and shit. That's not what they're not telling you. That's not what you're supposed to use it for. You're supposed to hire people and things to make sure your shit is right and preserve your money, because you don't know when you're going to get your next check. In the music industry, nobody knows when they're going to get paid, for the most part, outside of published writers and stuff.
So who's making the bank? Because I heard some people say, you might as well at this point just be a producer, because the
producers ain't making no damn money. They barely making anything. You got to be Metro Boomin level for that to matter. Most producers working for free right now.
Are you serious?
Majority of them working for free.
Even the people making hits.
Yes. No, not all the people making hits. If you got decent amount of hits like Hitmaker, Tay Keith, Metro and them, yeah, you straight. But most of these producers are all like hopefully hoping to make money on the back end. They get a publishing check one time, but they're in debt to the publishers until they recoup. So, and that's artists too. That's everybody. Everybody's in debt till they recoup. So they give that one set check, and the recoup is off your dime, not my dime. So if me and you sign a contract to own this show, and I funded it for $10,000, and I said, you get 50%. But let's say we got a $10,000 check. I'm gonna confuse you, but all in all, you got to pay me back 10,000 out of your side, not my side. So as the label's getting paid, the label was keeping their money. They're not looking at the whole $10 and saying, okay, that's a part of it. No, if we have $10 and you're supposed to only get $1 for every $10 we get, then you owe me from that $1. And until that $1 is given, like in pennies, like every time you make $1, 40 cents come back to me. But I made $9. That's how, just like I said with the subscriptions, it's like that. Y'all are getting maybe 5% of what we're making overall. But out of that 5%, you got to give me money back that I lent you out of that 5%, which ain't much. And then that's when it becomes pennies and you can't really catch up to the debt. So they lend you more money so you could be in more debt.
I seen you talking about you don't want to work with young artists, and because the Legacy Act, like the locks and them, that's pretty old. What? Because I'm pretty sure you got young artists banging on your door every day trying to get next to you. What's the reason for working with legacy artists? Legacy artists,
by the time they're older, they've made their mistakes. They realize that they could be moving a lot better. Like one thing I like about the locks is they pay you after every show. They pay everybody after every show.
That's
mostly
dope.
Everybody else is, I don't care if, like I said, Prada, whoever, send an invoice, and then you're waiting 60 days, sometimes 90 days just to get paid from something you did. The longest I waited, I think, was like 2 years for a basic check of $1,000. You go through that all the time in this damn business. Because, and once again, I'm not an accountant. I don't know how everybody handles it. Everybody handles that part differently. But older artists just understand the ropes and don't want to deal with the bullshit. So like, let's nip that in the butt now. Younger artists are just, after a show, they want to get their balls licked. They're not really caring about the driver and the people that waited for them while they want to be late and smoke weed in the back. And you know, they're young. They just trying to enjoy the fame and have sex.
So right, I actually one more trending question.
Yeah.
Because I saw you said you had dinner with Beyonce before.
Yes, back in the day.
How was that? What was that like?
So that was with Jay-Z. Well, Jay-Z was there too, but it was because I was working on the June Ambrose, and we was on set.
Wow.
And swear to God, my mother was with me, my boy Ricky was with me, and whatever, and my friend Yami was with me, and we were chilling, talking to her. Did not realize we were talking to Beyonce. She had no makeup on. She was on some regular shit. Did not realize the whole time. I couldn't believe it. And it wasn't until my boy said, he stopped though. He said, hold up. I just realized something. Are you motherfucking Beyonce? And she goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, we talking to Beyonce right now. Now you making this shit awkward, dog. But right. I honestly didn't know. My mother was there too. We was like, oh shit, we are talking to Beyonce.
Wow.
Oh shit. Because she's very gorgeous, but you know, she had no makeup on. She wasn't no nothing. Just regular. We was all eating on set.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, a Blue Magic music video.
Oh,
Tiana Taylor brought us on set, and yeah.
So you working with the Locks?
Okay. Yep.
Hanging out with. I see you talking about Tony Yayo a lot.
Yeah.
What's your relationship, man?
Shout out to Tony Yayo. Long story short, Tony Yayo, from my understanding, wants to be an actor, right? And
that should be hard hanging out with 50.
Yeah. So boom. He 50's opening a studio. He's like, yo, I want to act. I want to do movies. From what I was told, he spoke to 50 about it. 50 said, I'm not taking you seriously unless you get an acting coach. Hence where my mother comes in, who's an acting coach and casting director, Wendy McKenzie. Notori, who's on Ghost, Power, all the shows, referred my mom to Tony Yayo.
Wait, who's Notori?
My fault. Notori Norton is an actress. She played the wife to Ghost, Omari. Ghost character, his real name's Omari.
In the beginning.
But yeah, but she's on the other stuff. So all in all, she referred Yayo, and Notori told Yayo about my mom, and then he called her, and then started taking acting classes. Then I met him right here in this room. I met him, and super nice. And he was the one that said, yo, man, you should come to Shreveport. You should come to Shreveport. And boom. And then we just started building. He's very straightforward, black and white, street dude. But, and I grew up on G Unit, so it's just crazy to be friends with Yayo. But Yayo is a good person, and one thing I like about him is that he's very coachable. He listens. He wants to understand things, I think, overall, from the music business, acting. Like he's learning about being an actor, but he's also learning the back end of what it takes around the actor, like the casting directors, the producers. He's understanding their roles entirely.
So I found it interesting. You said 50 was like, I ain't gonna take you serious. People think just because you know the guy, you still gonna get a handout.
No, I don't care who you know. It don't work like that. If that's the case, just like Jay-Z said to Kevin Hart, like his family members might ask him for $4,000, and he's be like, no. You know, they want you to work for it, because if they give it to you, you're not gonna appreciate it. And that's happened to me. I came up with the Fugees. Wyclef gave all of us stuff, and we didn't value it as much, appreciate it as much. We was in a lot of rooms, even with Pharrell. Like I said, I was in a lot of rooms that when I got older, I was like, damn, I didn't honor that moment enough. Like he was trying to make me see things, but I was young. I just didn't see it like that at the time.
So 50 was responsible for telling Uncle Murder he has to change his name back to Lenny Grant. Because I remember back when he was like, yo, he said Uncle Murder's not really good for the long term. He changed it back to Lenny Grant.
See, I didn't know that. I hear everybody calling him Uncle Murder when I'm with him.
Right? That's what I was like, I could have, because for a while, it's a Lenny Grant story.
He probably did, though, because Yo Gotti said he told him to change the cocaine to...
So 50 just over here telling people how to be real corporate.
Yeah, and I tell Yayo that all the time. Like, one thing I see with Jay-Z and 50, they know, you got to know when to turn it off and on. They know when to wear the suit. They know when to wear a do-rag. You know, like, you can't be street all the time. You got to know, like, when to level up. And just, I'm in a different room, time to be that person. Be what the moment requires. That's what I've learned.
So, because I noticed Tony Yale speaks very highly of 50, and you would think that because everybody's a celebrity, but there's still somebody who knows how to get into the room, bring the resources back. And I think that's really dope that Tony Yale still has to learn how to be an actor and learn how the industry works. You know, because I feel like a lot of people just don't really know. Because when I saw him come to a rise when he was in jail for a while, and the whole Free Yayo movement started, right? And then something I saw you put up about Drake with the shirt on, and Tony Yayo could have made. What happened? Did he ever get the rights to the name, and did they collaborate? So Drake when he wore the Free Yayo shirt, and whatever happened with that?
So I don't. Yayo don't even know. That was a surprise to everyone. But I'm assuming Drake bought that shirt off eBay or something. For whatever reason, wore it. Supposedly it's because of a Vlad TV interview. For whatever reason, he wore it. Yayo took advantage and capitalized off it with the Free Yayo. Because I told Yayo, I text him the day of, like, yeah, if I was you, I'll do a mock-up website, mock-up T-shirt, and just try to sell this thing right now. Because when I was Googling it, I found 9 Chinese websites already selling it.
Free Yayo.
Yeah, the bootleg shirts or whatever. They move fast. When they see something trending, they on it. So I'm like, you might as well do the same thing, except when you post a link, all your followers, I think he has close to 1 million, are going to see that. And he cashed out heavy. Good money on it. So Drake gave him the alley-oop. And sometimes, like, especially in today's world, if you want to make money, you got to be fast with pop culture and what's going on. And just some things are just going to pop up, and how fast you move is how fast you're going to cash out. I'll give you a light example. My boy, who's Jewish, he made $900,000 in one day when Osama bin Laden died. Soon as Osama bin Laden news came out that he was dead, he went online, made a mock-up shirt. Didn't even print it out, just a mock-up graphic design. Osama is dead with his name, and put a bullseye on him. And he, in less than 12 hours, made $900,000. And people like him showed me, like, wow, being ahead of things like that. It's just like how when Trump got shot, all of a sudden, I'm walking through New York, it was like the next day, all hoodies and stuff in that. I'm like, people were on it. And you will make a lot of money in those moments if you, okay, I gotta move quick.
Sounds like y'all need to get a printing press to keep it on standby.
or have a graphic designer.
Right.
You know, just because, like I said, in today's time, you don't got to make things physically no more. Kanye West and them don't do it.
Oh, just put the online store. You know, let them drop ship.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
and then you come out of pocket for nothing. They paying for everything. You just got to have the image up. Website.com.
Man, I could tell, bro, that you one of them people who have gave away a lot of great ideas to amazing people. I made a video. People were very upset about it because it was like gatekeeping. I said, you shouldn't give away ideas for free to people who wouldn't give you $1 million back.
That's how I discovered you.
You know? Yeah. And so what are your thoughts about that? Because I feel like, of course we believe in giving away free information, But there's levels to certain things because it's mostly to the people who would never give you $1 back if they made $1 million off your idea.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened to you? Because I could tell some people ran off on the plug.
10,000 times this happened to me. But for the most part, what also builds my bond with people is my conversation, because that's how me and Yayo got close. And even recently, I'm not going to say this guy's name. He's a multimillionaire. I didn't know this until like 2 days ago, but he works with like Elon Musk and stuff. And he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's going to link me with some billionaires in 2 weeks. All because of a rant I did on Instagram. And he's not the only one. I notice a lot of wealthy people that follow me, because I have a few millionaires that follow me.
But what was you talking about on IG? Sorry to cut you off.
What was I talking about? Intellectual property and stuff. I was just ranting about something. And then he was like, I want to chop it up with you. And he didn't say why. Wow. And we're just chopping it up, eating, drinking. I don't like asking people what they do. Because it's like people try to base a level of respect for you based on that. So I do my best not to. True. I just fuck with you. You want to talk, let's talk. Like, we talking. Boom. But this dude, he was like, yo, you don't know what I do, but I want to break it down to you. Because on his Instagram, I would see him in private jets, little hints of things, but I'm like, okay, maybe. I know people. I've been in a private jet, but I don't own one. I just know people that do, thank God. But anyway, so I always know, like, that just because somebody's in a Rolls Royce, I don't mean it's their Rolls Royce. Because I be in Rolls Royces and it ain't mine. So, but people be thinking I'm rich. Far from it. Just right now, at least. So all in all, yeah. So all in all, when speaking my mind, I don't care, because it has gotten me indoors with powerful people that I knew, but when they see how much I know, they go, wow, you're just like one of us. And I've been learned this with wealthy people. It's not about money. They want to know you're on the same mindset as them. Because it's very hard. When they say it's lonely at the top, it's very hard to find people that think like you. That's really what it's all about. Because I had companies that got investors, and I had $0. But
what you mean by that?
I had a tech company, and I raised a lot of money. But I got, like, my friend wrote me a $200,000 check. Bing, there you go. Just because of just shit I was talking that day. I don't even remember. But he wanted to help me, because he's like, wow, you on that millionaire mindset. And that's what they need to see, that you're on it. And then they'll come hang out with me at this place. Or come to the Hamptons. I have friends in the Hamptons. I'm from the hood. Like, the fact that I got all these friends, and I know a lot of people with money, but I don't ask them for money. They just like my company, because it's very hard for them to have people around them who don't want nothing from them, but just to explore their mind and just talk about life. I just want some wisdom. That alone gives me the wealth. Because banking and how I borrow money from banks is because of those type of friends. So just like they give me free game, but not just like them. I mean, just like us, not many people run with the game they give them. So it's very hard. They find people that go, wow, you're really listening to me. I think to them, that's like currency within itself.
Yeah, I've heard people do love to talk about themselves. Is there anybody out there that, you did give some information, they did make some money, probably didn't pay you back? Like, that's a well-credited name that people be like, damn, that's kind of crazy. Yeah,
this Jewish guy who told me about the Idaho potatoes. I said the story earlier about potatoes, be the farmer, not the hunter. His name is Solomon. He owned a company called Vida Group, VIDA, and he owns Baby Fat Farm, South Pole. He owns all these companies, and he paid me the most I've ever been paid in general, but there was a specific thing I could have made millions from, and that's when he didn't pay me. And he told me, take him to court. He told me that to my face. He said, I'm taking it. Take me to court. I don't care.
Well, what happened? What was it?
It was a company. It was a shoe company of some sort. And I had bought Mos Def in and Chase Infinite, who was A$AP Rocky's manager. Not at the time, but he was just, he's A$AP Rocky's manager. That's how most people know him. Now he's West Side Gun manager and stuff. But
okay, Griselda?
we bought him and Mos Def to this company. And then he took the idea and gave it to Nick Cannon for whatever reason. And I had told Nick Cannon about it a little bit, but it's hard to explain. But I wasn't trying to it got a little political. I'm like, Nick Cannon don't need to know everything. And then he just basically cut us out and gave it all to him. The money, everything.
But he gave everything to Nick Cannon?
Yeah. And Nick Cannon didn't know nothing about it.
But why did he do that? Why do you think that happened?
I don't know why Solomon did that. His name is Solomon from Vida Group. and Nick Cannon had maybe, and I noticed they don't work with each other today, so I don't know if he got burnt too or whatever.
Well, I also saw something about you and Reebok. What happened at Reebok?
Oh yeah, so Reebok, a long while ago, I was at Reebok doing the marketing with influencers and stuff. And shout out to Wayno. Wayno's not QC the label, but Wayno has a YouTube channel as well.
You remember who I was telling you? I was talking to you earlier about somebody from QC. And I'm mistaken it was an A&R, but it was Wayno. And we were talking about likes, and somebody told me like that's Wayno from QC.
When I met Wayno, he was on the come up. We was all on the come up. All in all, we created this thing called the grilled cheese parties. That's when I first learned about intellectual property and things like that. And we learned, we made them all this money. Reebok, the CEO flew me and Wayno out. I got the pictures. They flew me and Wayno to Boston. And he, from what I remember, they told us they wanted to fire the people that got us in there. And I didn't want to outshine my master. So I went back to them. Not Chase Infinite was involved in it, but he didn't know about this part of the story. I went back to this guy named Hawaiian Mike. And I said, hey, Reebok is basically saying, y'all are making $30,000 off of us, and we're only getting $500 a month. I want some of that other money. And he went into this whole shit show about like how we're betraying him because we went to Boston without them. Because they were an agency that Reebok was paying, and then the agency paid us. And they were saying at Reebok, we'll just cut them out and give the money to you two. That's what I remember being told. So anyway, and then that's when things turned into a shit show. And I was living with Michael K. Williams at the time. He played Omar in The Wire. And Michael K. said, quit that shit. You're not doing that no more because they fucked up. That's what he said. And I'm like, yeah, because you're making $30,000 and we only getting $500 out of that. That's insane. And we're doing all the work. It's the nature of the business. I don't care. I don't hold it against nobody no more. But at the time, that is a fact. And that's why I walked away. Because I knew my value. They told me and Wayno, we made them $80,000 in 1 month. And I was like, I didn't even know that. Just unintentionally through like the parties we were doing. I'm like, I want something. That don't make sense. Then I don't have health care. I don't have dental care. I don't have none of that. So I'm like, can I get something? And a lot of people, it's sad to say, especially black executives, want to keep the talent in the dark. So they're the ones taking advantage of you and making the most money off you and owning your IP and then claiming it's black love and black entrepreneurship. All the people that chant that black love, black power, Black Lives Matter, they're the main ones stealing from black people, and they're black. Put it on my dead grandmother. Anybody that played me in business was a black person. I've never been played by a white person. I'm not saying they don't do it. They do it. They probably do. But they never did it to me. I've only ever been played by my own all the time. And it's sad, but it is what it is. And when you call these people out, they get mad about it instead of being like, no, I am fucked up. I did take advantage of you because you was a young, dumbass nigga. They all do it. They lying to say they don't. That's why you can only get rich off stupid people. Because if somebody knows better, they do better. Then I don't need you. But that's what what most people don't want is the Andre Harrell Diddy situation.
What's that?
Andre Harrell helped Diddy. He interned, Puff Daddy interned for Andre Harrell. And then he became bigger than Andre Harrell. And then now he and Andre Harrell went out of business and he hired him. So now Andre Harrell has to work for the person he interned for.
Holy.
He did. He passed away, but yeah.
Oh, so you're saying most people don't want to end up in that predicament where they help you, then they lose, so they just try to make sure you don't even get past them at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look, Hit Boy said that about Kanye West. He said that on DJ Academic's podcast, how Kanye would tell him, yo, because Beyonce might like something. He'll see him working with Beyonce and go, you're not doing that. Come over here. You got to move like this. And was making sure he wasn't getting paid and stuff like that. Hit Boy said that. It's with everybody.
Wait, so Kanye was stopping Hit Boy from making more money?
Yes. It's in the interview with DJ Academics. Hit Boy was saying how Kanye, that's why he left Good Music.
So that's the big thing. That's the reason why Tiana Taylor's no more upset with Good Music, because stuff like that? Because I saw Big Sean talking about what Kanye still owes him millions of dollars now.
Yeah, see? It's with everybody. You know, my point is like, don't look at none of your idols as anything special, yo. They're all fucked up, for better or for worse. But it's the nature of America. Because America is really, how do I take advantage of you? That's the whole country. You know what I'm saying? You go to a restaurant, why are you tipping the waiter? The restaurant should be paying you. But everybody's just trying to get one up on everybody. You start learning like, oh, well, that's just the culture of America. Because I just went to Japan, and that's not the culture of Japan. I'm in Dubai, and that's not the culture of Dubai. You know what I'm saying? So I learned like this is all culture. So that's not racism. It's not none. It's just all culture. It's all good. As I got older, I just learned to be like, it's all good. This is the culture of this place. When you're in Rome, do what the Romans do.
That's deep, man. That's deep. Yo, I think we wrap, man. This was great, man. I feel like you've covered so much aspects of history, so much aspects of business, so many different people and perspectives, man. Wow, I'm actually lost for words now, man.
Have fun. Don't take this shit seriously. Money is money. I just filed for bankruptcy. Got credit cards. Just got another loan. My point is like, we're all gonna die, yo. Don't take life seriously. You don't need to go hurt somebody or whatever. Just don't take life too seriously. I think I took it too seriously. I'm learning to have more fun and relax. Everything's not gonna be in my control. I will do the best I can with what I have.
And let's give them a real, for the kid out, this is always a cliche question, but for the young kid out there who wants to be an artist working in the entertainment business, how long does it really take to get there? Because I think everybody thinks it happens overnight. It's just not true.
For some, it do. Like Soulja Boy, you know, he, what, 16? I don't remember what age he was. Or like, no, that's not true. You're right. No, it doesn't happen overnight, because I was just thinking about Justin Bieber. And I mean, even though he got his success young, he still had to work. Britney Spears, all these guys had to work. So, once again, teamwork make the dream work. Who's around you is gonna look. Your mind is like soil. You know, what you plant in it will harvest. And I look at it like Apple, not just the company Apple, but the apple itself. A farmer doesn't just plant the seed to grow. He creates an environment for that seed to grow. And you got to do that with your career as well. You have to have things around you that's going to help you grow up for the better, or else you will fall. How we see the Irv Gottis fall and the Dame Dashes fall, and now the Diddy's are falling, you know. And you gotta audit yourself. You're not gonna always have it right, even when you do have it right, because that's what we all as humans mess up. We're doing good, and then we think we know it, and we don't. You gotta still stay a student, still learn. I just had a 10-year relationship, and we broke up a year ago. And I think sometimes I learned, and I wasn't married, but I'm learning like, okay, I can see how you can get married and get comfortable within sex, comfortable within like not courting your girl, or her not even caring about courting you because she's not putting on, because, you know, now we're pooping and shitting with the door open. And I learned like, no, there needs to be some mystery. It's hard, especially when you live with each other, but you got to find ways to just keep things new and fresh, and check yourself and say, every year, what do I need to let go about myself and add in some new aspects to myself? Because this ain't going to take me until next year if I keep thinking like this, moving like this, walking like this. Just love, business, family, just anything that needs nurturing, you know? Yeah, that's my little 2 cents, though.
That's real shit, man. It's ThinkAMill podcast, #1 place for independent thinking, and also some of the most exclusive interviews, real shit, real conversations with real people.
I'm about to get drunk like DJ Academics right now. Holy.
Holy. Hold on. Before you move, let me